Hello, dear students. Welcome to the unit number 3, in which we are in the fifth lecture. In this lecture, we are going to study about project scheduling and tracking. Now, before we move into details of this topic, we should first know the meaning of what is scheduling and what is tracking. First, let us see what is scheduling and when does the scheduling part come into picture, or when does it stage up. So, scheduling is nothing but you are selecting a proper model for development. Then you are identifying the various engineering tasks that we studied in unit number 1, which consists of communication, deployment, modeling, coding, testing. You have decided all that. Next, what you are doing is you are estimating the amount of work or effort that is needed to complete the project. You already know the deadlines, and based on the deadlines, you are calculating the total effort that will be needed in your project. So till now we have studied all this, how to design your process, how to identify the tasks, then how to calculate efforts. Now it is the time to connect all these dots all together in your canvas. So now you are going to create a network of all these things, and using this network you are going to develop or enable a strategy that will get your job done on time, because you already have a deadline. So what you are doing is, by creating a big network, you are helping or enabling the job to happen in time when you assign responsibilities, when you make sure it's done, when you know that requirements of the client are going to change, requirements are volatile, but still you are able to adapt it into your ongoing software making process, and you are handling risks if they are coming around. Okay, so all these things are helping you to schedule your data. So why you are doing this scheduling concept? This scheduling is done so that in order to build a complex system, you have to do things parallelly. Otherwise, you cannot deliver the project in time. So you have to incorporate parallel development. Now, when you have parallel development, you have something called as interdependency, meaning you are dividing your work into different tasks, and then another task is affected by your previous tasks. Okay, so there can be things which are parallel, there can be things which are also dependent on each other. So in that case, there will, if work is parallel, it won't affect each other, but if work is interdependent, it is going to affect the performance of the following work or following task. So it becomes impossible to access the progress of a project without having a proper schedule. So in order to track where are you in the development phase, how much you have done, how much you have completed, or how much is still left to be done, for that you need to have a complete project schedule. That is why you are implementing scheduling. Let us take a very simple example to understand this. Now you know that your exams are going to start in a week. Okay, so for a week you're preparing a schedule that you will start with the last subject first, and first subject you will study at last. So this is a general strategy or a schedule with which you are doing your preparations for the exam. Similarly, your college timetable, that is also a schedule. Otherwise, if you don't have such a schedule, you may miss out some subjects, or you may study some subjects in more detail, ignoring the others. So that is why you have a schedule or timetable. Okay, now how this scheduling is done? Now you already have the process model which helps you to define various tasks that are needed to carry out the project. So after you decide the process model, you are finding effort, how much effort will be required, and how much time you are having to implement that project. Based on that, you are creating a network of activities, and you are implementing your software based on that activity so that you can deliver a good quality product in a particular deadline. Okay. Now, how can you do this effectively? Now, this can be done effectively when all tasks have appeared in the network. Okay, then all the effort, all the time, all the resources and everything is intelligently allotted in the divided process. You are finding out what processes are interdependent, what processes will go on parallelly, and you have prepared certain things called as milestones. Okay, so you can come to know or you can track your progress. So this is what we are going to study in this particular unit, and now we shall move forward. Okay, now coming to the definition, what is scheduling? Now scheduling is nothing but an action. Okay, now what that action is doing, that action is distributing the estimated effort across planned project duration by allocating the effort to specific software engineering tasks. Now first let us bifurcate the different terminologies in the definition. First of all, a project scheduling is an action. Now what this action is doing, it is distributing an estimated effort. Now what is estimated effort? You have given a rough idea that in order to complete this project, I will require so and so much of effort. So you are deciding roughly what effort is used and what effort will be used, and this effort you are distributing. Where you are distributing? You are distributing across the planned project duration. Now what is a planned project duration? You already know the deadline. You have created a rough plan that this is how I'm going to proceed with my software development. So there you are distributing your effort by allocating the effort to specific software engineering tasks. Now what can be your specific tasks? Like finding out scope, like doing requirement analysis, like coding, like testing, like integration. So all these different things are your software engineering tasks, and you are putting in your resources or your efforts into these particular tasks, and that distribution is called project scheduling. Now we will see that we already know the release date. So this at first you already know your release date. So based on that, organization will have many constraints of distributing efforts. So what they will do is the effort is distributed in such a manner that it makes the best use of possible available resources. Now let us move on to the basic principles of scheduling. The first principle is compartmentalization. Now, compartmentalization means nothing but you are dividing your tasks. Now, why this division, or why this bifurcation, or why this decomposition of task? This decomposition is done so that your work, which actually seems to be very big at first, is better understood, better implemented, and refined, so that it can be developed parallelly if possible and not interdependently. Okay, so if I tell you to compute a sum of millions and millions of numbers, what you will do is you will group them into specific, say, group of thousands, and this group of thousands you will compute sums individually, and then you will merge the thousand sums that you get. Okay, so this is how you are compartmentalizing your work. So whatever work your project work you have, you are dividing it, and then you are compartmentalizing and allocating to different teams. Next is interdependency. Interdependency is design. Let us take an example. Design cannot be started before modeling. So by that I mean, first when you have your UML model or diagrams designed, only then you can start the designing process. So some tasks are such that they are dependent on each other. So these interdependent tasks are generally executed in sequence, and some tasks are parallel, so they are not dependent on each other, they are independent. So independency and dependency, these two things are going to form a basis of your project development cycle or scheduling. Next is time allocation. Now, time allocation is nothing but you are assigning start and end dates to your task. So, these start and end dates are nothing but the divided task that you have. You are assigning every task certain units of work. Okay, so based on that, you can come to know whether you want to work full time on a particular functionality or you require part time, because some things can be easily implemented while certain things will take more time. So based on that, you can decide what you want to perform in your scheduling. Next is effort validation. Now, effort validation is every project is has a definite number of people involved in a software team. So as time allocation occurs, you must ensure that no more than allocated number of people has been scheduled at any given time towards the project. So if you are allocating more people than required, then you are actually wasting your resources, which you could have given somewhere else. So you are trying to make the best possible use of your manpower or your, yeah, in this case, effort validation manpower in your project. Next is you are defining responsibilities. Now, every task that is scheduled has to be assigned to a specific team member. So your project manager is going to assign a task to every member in a team. But if you are using the agile approach, then in the agile approach, the team is a self-organizing team. So people from the team will come over and they will take responsibilities on their own. Okay, so they are defining their own responsibilities. Next is define outcomes. Now, outcome is nothing but a form of work product. So what kind of work product you are going to bring up? So for software projects, the outcome is generally a product or a work. So what kind of a product you are going to deliver? Based on that, you have to prepare a schedule. If you are supposed to deliver the work product in a very short amount of time, you won't be able to give much. So your outcome will be specific one or two functionalities. But if you have been given a very long time for presenting or delivering your product, you have to bring out more number of features so that your customer is satisfied. Next is define milestones. Now you are defining milestones because whatever schedule you are making will consist of one or more tasks, and every task should be associated with a milestone. Now milestone is like you are going somewhere on a trip, on a road trip, then you are finding milestones that these many kilometers left, these many kilometers left. It is a kind of countdown. Similarly, here in a project also, in a project schedule also, you have milestones. And these milestones are used to track your self in the project development phase, also to improve your quality when these milestones are reviewed. Okay, so you can accomplish a milestone when one or more work products are reviewed for their quality. So this was all about principles. Now we shall move on to what steps can be taken by the project manager. So the project manager can have these many particular tasks, these 7 tasks. First is he needs to identify all the tasks that are needed to complete the project. So if he is given the task of modeling, then he has to model the system by its structure. He has to model the system by its behavior. He has to model the system by the flow. He has to model the system by his state. So all these things he has to consider. So every task will have certain other subtasks. That is what we call as work breakdown structure. So first of all, he will identify a main task, and after that main task he's going to do the decomposition or the compartmentalization that we just discussed. So he's going to divide the task that he has identified into sub blocks or into small activities. Now what he will do, he will find out the interdependency between them, means this second thing. Okay, so he's finding out interdependency, whether they can be done parallelly, whether they have to be done sequentially, or what is going to be their strategy to code or develop the software. Next is he will establish time estimates for completion of activities. So he is going to allocate time. So how he is going to allocate the time? To establish time estimates for completion of activities means he has to define that if I am working on this particular functionality or this feature, it is going to take me around 1 day. So my starting and ending deadline has to be that particular day. Okay, next he is going to allocate resources. So allocation of resources can be allocation in terms of manpower, in terms of technology, in terms of cost, in terms of infrastructure. All these things he has to allocate so that all the members in the team are actively at work. They are not wasting any resources. They have to take care that they are not wasting any of the resources. Next is he has to determine the start and end dates for various activities. So that is nothing but your time allocation. And he has to determine something called as a critical path that we will be seeing later on. It is a method for scheduling. Okay. Now, here in the definition, we already have seen that it is an action that is distributing effort. Okay. So what can you say about effort distribution? Now, effort distribution is something that is dependent on the project manager, but generally they are given guidelines that it should be 40-20-40 rule, which says that 40% of the effort should be given or should be bifurcated, separated for analysis and design tasks. That is your requirement analysis and your designing. Okay, that is GUI and your UML diagrams. Next is they are saying 20% should be allocated to programming, because after you have done your thorough analysis, after you are presenting your designs, after you have created your models, then coding is a very easy task, because you have been doing that even in your BE regular classes, in your 4 years of tenure of BE. So programming is not a very big task, but requirement analysis, preparing designs, preparing models is something that is going to take a lot of more efforts as compared to programming. And 40% of the remaining work or effort should be allocated to testing. Now, testing requires a lot of effort, even more as compared to design and analysis, because there 40% you are giving for analysis, model and design, everything. But here 40% you are allocating only and only solely to testing. Because if you are developing a real-time software like banking, and if you have some problems there, then it is going to create issues. If you are having a autopilot software, then mistakes there in runtime are not actually feasible. You can't do such kind of mistakes. So 40% of effort is allocated to testing. We shall now see the methods of scheduling. The first method is the timeline chart. The timeline chart is a chart in which you are representing all the tasks and the timeline. So here you can see these are my tasks, and here above this is my time. My time is in weeks. Okay. Now activities. First main activity is analysis. Now this analysis activity is bifurcated into work breakdown tasks. So these are the subtasks. Similarly, design phase. Design phase is also subdivided into different tasks. Development is also divided into subtasks, and testing is divided into subtasks. So these are my basic work tasks, and they are further subdivided into different other tasks. This is my timeline, which is generally 1 week timeline I have shown. So from Monday to Sunday, this is my 1 week. Every week I am showing my progress. Okay, so these are called Gantt charts or timeline schedules. Now what happens here is it shows activities displayed against time, which I already told you. Next is it helps to plan resource allocation. Now how does it help you to plan resource allocation? Because you can come to know what task is taking how much of time. Based on that, resource allocation will be easy, effort allocation will also be easy. Okay, and it is giving you a detailed view of what are the various activities. So these are the activities, when each activity begins and ends. So you can say that design is an activity which is beginning somewhere in the middle of this week, Jan 9 week, okay, and it is ending somewhere in the end of this week. This is what you can come to know. Okay, how long each activity is scheduled to last. So you can see here in the design phase, this person, Jennifer Jones, she has done 100% of her work in this much time. Next is Jennifer Jones has done only 56% of her work in this duration. She has completed the whole work that was allocated for interface design in this much time, and the remaining design specification work she has uh, just started almost in this week. Okay, and design completion phase is expected by this date. Okay, so this is what she is we can come to know from here. We can also come to know where activities overlap with other activities and by how much. So we can see that design and development are taking place side by side or parallelly. Okay, and we can see the start and end date of the whole project. Whole project we won't be able to see here because I'm showing you only a miniature picture of the whole schedule. So I can't tell you about the start and end dates in this diagram. Okay, but you can using the diagram. So this is all for today. In the next lecture we shall see about the remaining two methods, CPM and PERT, for schedule tracking, and we will conclude with this topic. Thank you.